Now that we're in Katalon Studios, what we're going to be doing again is going to be creating a simple test case against our healthcare application. How we do this is simply going into our test case, create a new one. From here we can give it a simple name. Let's call it Make Appointment. Give it a description as well, but once we click OK, we're going to be bringing it to our new keyword view perspective. From here, we can do a number of things. First off, we can utilize our object repository to actually manually create each test steps. We can switch over to our scripting capabilities, in which case we can utilize Groovy as a way to create these test steps for ourselves. But the fastest way to create a base layer test case is simply going into our recording sessions and recording in against one of our browsers. In this case, I have my URL targeting my application, and I get to select what browser I want to choose from. Again, it should be important to note that if you are wanting to record in Chrome or in IE or any other browsers that we support, you can do so by selecting it from here and also play it back in any browsers you want as well. For right now, I'm just going to simply select Chrome, and when I actually bring that up, our application will start in front of us, and we can start recording our interactions. A couple things else, if I were to click on this expand capabilities, I will be able to see all the steps being generated. Already we see two of them, opening the browser and navigating to the URL. But let's make a new appointment. Let's enter in some information. Once we've done that, we can interact with a wide range of different UI. Again, these are all typical things that we start seeing: checkboxes, radio buttons, drop-down menus, the works of sorts. We'll say that the reason for this appointment is yearly exam. Book the appointment, and we can go back to the home page. That is our general base case. From here, there's different ways that we can go about it. We can modify our test scripts on the right side, but we'll save it for now. And it's going to ask us questions in regards to the object repository. For those who are wondering what that is, when it comes to making a automation test scripts, utilizing an object repository is saving the objects, the web elements that we save. So anything like a button, a text box, radio buttons, anything that we click on during our recording sessions will be saved into our object repository so that when we execute this test case in the future, we'll be able to identify them properly. So I'm just going to click OK. We can start seeing, another object repository shown for us. And if we wanted to play back our test case in front of us, we can simply click on this button. However, if we're going to do that, we might as well add this to a test case already. Or, my apologies, a test suite. So a test suite is, again, just a collection of test cases. So what we are going to be doing, we'll create our own little test suite. And from here, we can call it med regression, something like that. Now all we need to do is add the test case that we want. And what happens is that since we already have the integration in play with test ops, we will be able to run this test case and we'll see the results reflected back into test ops for analysis. However, there is another type of collection of test cases called a test suite collection, and this is something that comes into play when you want to run your application against a wide range of environments and profiles. We'll call this med regression collection instead of suite. A couple things that we can start pointing out to. First off, parallelization is definitely something that's going to be available for you guys. The main limit is just based off how much hardware and how much dedicated RAM and CPU process is available, as well as disk space and sorts. But we also have the ability to schedule this on Katalon's test ops. Again, We'll be able to go into this a little bit more in another demonstration, but for right now I just want to focus on really the workflow of what a test suite collection can do. So not only are we able to add our test suites into here, but we are also able to add our test cases as well. Once we're in here and we have a test case, we can say what environment we want to run with and what profile it is. Now I mentioned profiles a couple of times, so let me explain what that is. A profile is simply a list or a collection of global variables, essentially data points that we're going to be utilizing in a given iteration of a test case. This profile can utilize something of username and password or access to specific data sources, essentially of that sort. So what we can do now is that we can actually make a configuration of running a wide range of different data points against wide range of different browsers as well. So we can actually have a fuller picture of our support and what is the quality of our application working under different environments. Should be noted, once we have Test Cloud, which we'll go into a little bit later on, with Test Cloud we'll be able to run this in a virtualized environment rather than rely on a physical one like we are right now. So it should be noted that there are various amounts of ways to start configuring your execution to fit your guys' needs, especially if you're looking to support both Windows and Apple, Macintosh based platforms. So again, this is where we start configuring the execution and the environments, where test suites is more about just configuring the data points and the number of test cases.